Was good, by John. So I wanted to tell y'all, look, I don't I don't tell you to stay away from doing certain things because I'm this moral authority that's trying to point a finger at you and tell you to, get your things right. Like, who am I to do that, right? But I do it because I don't want you to suffer through what I did. And I think naturally that's what a lot of you are also like, even if, you know, sometimes there are bad apples. And I always tell y'all to, intelligent men learn from their mistakes, while wise men learn from the mistakes of others. But there's this topic that me and my cousin were talking about, and, you know, there's some things in life that I've done that I'm not particularly like proud of, right? And what I've realized is that even though I'm not, they were necessary for my growth, okay? And so basically, when I think back to it, I'm like, okay, would I want this event to happen again? No. If I had the choice, probably not. Right? Because it wasn't right, or it didn't feel right, or, you feel like you got pressured into it, or things like that. But then you also come to the realization that if you didn't go through it, then you would not come out the kind of person you are, and your mind would kind of like it wouldn't have stopped agonizing over that concept. Like for me, that was I'm gonna just keep it a buck. For me, that was women. Okay, for me, that was women. Like, I was always a very, very lonely kid back in middle school, high school. And you want what every other guy wants, right? Which is like women. And you don't have a lot of status and shit like that. So when you start working on yourself and improving yourself, you start getting a lot of attraction. And I made the mistake of indulging in within that attraction with which or sorry, indulging and getting with women and stuff like that, which there is nothing wrong with the women here. I'll say this again, okay? People have, men and women have the audacity at times to be like, look, it was because of this person, or to gaslight them, or to think that, oh, they're the reason you're in this situation. No, take extreme ownership and be like, look, bro, I'm the reason I'm in this. I'm the one who also had the choice, unless you didn't, which in that case, of course, that'd be very, very unfortunate. But I had a choice in this, and I chose to make the decision of indulging, whether that was societal pressure, whether that wasn't, whether that was my biological instinct. I don't know what it really was. It could have been a combination of all those. I just want to make y'all aware of it, and I want to make myself aware of it when I say that. But yeah, I indulged, and the reason I don't go into like complete and utter graphic content of it is like, I, first of all, like, I don't want to, be like a bad influence, or I know there's going to be younger men watching this and stuff like that, so there's no need for them to go into that, or things like that. But I basically indulged, and you can kind of guess what that means. But again, there is nothing wrong with a woman in this situation, nothing at all. If any other woman was in this scenario, it'd be the same thing. It was my choice to indulge, and I realized that was a mistake, but I also realized that my mind stopped agonizing it over it, and it moved on. It stopped agonizing over women and being either resentful of women and how good they have it earlier on in their dating stages compared to how men have it. And now I'm just like free of that, and I feel so great, and I could just like, and ever since I've come back to Pakistan, I see that age gap within men and women in weddings, and I'm just like, yeah, that's just kind of how it is. That's just natural. That's just the way things work. It's like she's going to be in her prime when she's, younger, preferably. And a lot of, if you get mad at me for that, I mean, it is what it is. That's just the way I think. It's an opinion at the end of the day. So, and it's culture. So it's just going to be different. That's fine. You think different. I think different. It is what it is. And then I think men, when they're at an age to be able to support in a traditional household, they're going to be able to do a lot better for the woman as well, and they'll be able to keep that male female dynamic, dynamic that happens within the relationship that allows for attraction and polarization and things like that, right? So I'm glad that I did go through what I went through. Like, for example, that was one example that I gave y'all, right? Which was the me agonizing over women. The other one would be like, I guess, uh, loneliness to a degree, and realizing that, sometimes my mind would agonize over that too all the time, and that becomes a pain. It's like you'll always think about yourself. And then I realized that, there's a couple of frameworks in which I finally realized that I don't have to feel this way, which was one was I need to stop thinking about myself all the time, because that's like Jordan Peterson taught me that. He was like, you use I all the time, and like, you tend to be more associated with depression because you're always thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about like your community or your, the greater good of the whole, which Miyamoto Musashi also says that. I think in Dokodo, which was his code, right? He says, think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. And I think that was lovely put. But anyway, I tend to digress on these videos. I apologize about that, but my mind kind of just wanders in concepts, and it just kind of like goes from one to another. But yeah, the main topic of the video was sometimes you got to go through things that you don't want to. And I know that's very cliche, very simple. Most of you have probably heard that. But, and again, I tend to tell people, like, I heard this from Alex Hormozi one time. He was like, most people don't actually need to be taught. They just need to be reminded. So again, this is kind of mostly like a reminder. It's like, look, don't agonize yourself over going through the experience you did, because we have a tendency to do that. We have a tendency to be like, look, oh, I had the choice in this and I made the wrong decision. And you start agonizing absolutely over the fact that you made that wrong decision or that wrong move or that bad idea. And it could have been catastrophic objectively, right? Maybe maybe it's taking a hit to your finances, or maybe it's taking a hit to, your relationships or something like that. But it's like, you have got to take the mistakes and learn from them. Like that's what they're there for. That's what the failure is there for. That's what's there for, because none of us would choose to actually go through that again if we looked at it in hindsight, right? Like if we looked at it, if we were in the future and then we looked back at some of the things we've went through as a collective whole, we looked at that particular year, we're like, oh hell no, I ain't going back to that shit. Psst, no thank you. We look at our years and we're like, nope, ain't doing that. Like, we wouldn't want to go through that all over again. No shot. But we remember our younger selves went through it. And there's something, if we went through it, then, we can learn something from it. I mean, what more can you really do from that experience? And it's like, why would you want to learn from it? Like, people say that shit all the time. Why would you want to learn from it? It's so that you suffer less than you already did. Right? Which is kind of why I'm here to tell you my experience. And that's how that kind of ties into the intelligent men learn from their mistakes. Why? So they don't suffer more than they need to. And why do wise men learn from other people's mistakes? So that they also don't suffer more than they need to. So don't think I'm some moral authority. By no means. I'm also a young guy who's, just trying to find his way in life. And you're probably doing the same. So, I just thought I'd just put that out there and hopefully help you, give you some insight onto what it is I think. And hopefully if you integrate this mindset, then it helps you throughout the course of your journey. So yeah, that's pretty much all I had. I know I'm looking a little bit like a bum right now. I don't even got my pendant on, bro. That thing turned black, bro. I sweat here so much it turned black. It's terrible. But yeah, I'm going to try this baking soda hack thing that my sister told me. Hopefully it's real silver so it'll actually work. But if it doesn't, it is what it is. Yeah, I'll be fine. But yeah, that's all I got for y'all. Peace.